This here is the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, justifiably the best car in the world. Built like a bank vault, safe like a nuclear bomb shelter, quiet as a library. It looks and feels like a gazillion bucks. Except this is an S-Class that has been possessed by the devil. This is an S-Class on steroids. It's so loud, it'll get you thrown out of the library. The ride is nothing like a magic carpet. It makes no sense. But what a car! What a insane car! I've driven epic cars in my life, but this is something else. You look at this, you look at an S-Class and your brain goes into full chill mode. And then the S63, it just turns your brain into mango pulp. Bheja ka amras. What a insane car, man. Ridiculous. Except there is precedent. Before the S-Class was even called the S-Class, AMG took the big Benz and turned it into a monster race car, the Red Pig, based on the W108. And since then, every generation of the S-Class has got the AMG treatment. All those AMGs had big, fat V8s. The Red Pig, it had a 6.3-liter V8 which was oversized to 6.8 liters. But 6.3, that's the important figure, which Lenny has really explained it beautifully in his walk-around video on this very same car. The link should be somewhere up here. Anyway, there was V8s, there was V12s, turbocharging, supercharging, even downsizing. The last S63, it had a 5.5-liter V8, which was downsized from the 6.3-liter V8. And we moaned and groaned about it. And now what do we have? We have an electric cable plugged into its bum. We notice the pin drop silence. No, I haven't switched into another car, and that brings me to the heart of the matter. The Mercedes-AMG S63 SE Performance, to give it its full name, is a plug-in hybrid. And when the batteries are fully juiced up, you get 33 kilometers of pure electric range. And that means at times like this, the S63 is quieter than a diesel or petrol S-Class. There's brake energy recuperation, 4 different levels, and the most aggressive recuperates the kinetic energy that is lost during braking or on the overrun at 90 kilowatts. Or you can plug in the cable and juice it up at a very leisurely 3.7 kilowatt on an AC charger. But there's nothing leisurely about the rest of the package. These e-motors are mated to AMG's M177 4-liter twin-turbo V8 engine, and together the package puts out 790 bhp and a absurd 1430 newton meters of torque. 1430 newton meters of torque. There's so much torque you could rip down mountainsides. Of those totals, the V8 it puts out 603 bhp and the e-motors put out 93 bhp, and in short bursts it can go up to 187 bhp. Of that mountain of torque, 900 newton meters comes from the V8, produced between 2500 and 4500 rpm, and the e-motors gives you a further 320 newton meters of torque. The electrified rear axle is similar but not identical to the one found on the GT63 SE Performance and the new C63E Performance. The 400-volt 13.1 kWh battery consists of 1200 cells and uses liquid cooling to maintain optimum operating temperature. The energy capacity is more than double that what you get on the GT63 SE Performance. The weight has also gone up by 390 kilos, brings it up to 2520 kilos. But with 1430 Newton meters of torque, you can put a fucking elephant on the roof and it'll still accelerate like a psychopath. Zero to 100, it takes 3.3 seconds. And the last time I checked, that was supercar territory. Remember the beast of the green hell? The GTR, that green AMG sports car? That took 3.6 seconds for 0 to 100. This four-door S-Class takes 3.3 seconds. How ridiculous is that? Top speed, this is the Edition 1 and that gets the AMG driver's package as standard, which boosts the top speed to 290 kilometers per hour. This, I have to remind you, is an S-Class, a four-door S-Class, and it can get up to 290 kilometers per hour. That's wild! This is the Edition 1, of which only 3 examples will be offered for sale in India. It costs a frightful amount of money, and if I tell you the price, you'll fall off your chair, so I'll reserve that for later. So the Edition 1 is only available in this Manufaktur Alpine Grey color. Nardo Grey, and Nardo Grey makes anything look really cool. This definitely looks hot. The S63 also gets a new bumper with the Panamericana grille. Also, the Edition 1 comes with the AMG Night package, and that means a lot of dark chrome. So you get this dark chrome on the grille. You have a lot of carbon fiber. So carbon fiber on the air dams, carbon fiber on the bumpers, on the side sills, the wheelbase. Now, this wheelbase is the regular wheelbase. You don't get the long wheelbase with the S63. So you can't play cricket at the back, but there's ample amount of space. You also get 21-inch wheels and you get carbon ceramic brakes because this has a ton of power. Over at the rear, you got your badging to tell the whole world that you've paid a ton of money. You get the new bumper, you get carbon trim, you get black chrome trapezoidal tailpipes. But if you actually look closer, the exhaust tips aren't trapezoidal. Those are normal round tips, but these are quad tailpipes. And a nice little touch, which you probably will not even notice because your driver will take the car to fuel. You get a silver finished fuel filler cap. To add to the gorgeous S-Class cabin, you get AMG specific trim. So you get this AMG Sport steering wheel, flat bottom. You have these 2 extensions. The one on the right, it helps you adjust the 7 different driving modes. 7 is a bit too much. All you need to know is put into comfort. It takes care of everything else. When you want to be a rowdy, you have Sport Plus. And if you want to creep out in silence, you also have a full electric mode. The one on the left helps you adjust between the suspension settings, the transmission, AMG dynamics, the sound, and also switch off traction control. You can't switch it off completely, but you can get small little skids. On the infotainment, now you also get these AMG specific displays, including one which shows you all the different driving modes. So while you're driving, it tells you whether the engine is running, whether the rear axle, the electrified rear axle is in operation, whether the brake energy recuperation is in place. And when you want to full send it, you also have an IWC watch out here that times your launches. Also on the Edition 1, you get these Napa leather seats with the red stitching and this gorgeous trim. This is carbon weave with a red thread through it, and it looks spectacular. In fact, in the night, it looks wild. There's way too much torque for only rear-wheel drive. So you get fully variable 4MATIC plus 4-wheel drive with torque vectoring on the rear axle. You also get 2 gearboxes. So the ICE, it gets the 9-speed AMG Speed Shift MCT transmission, and the E-Motors gets a 2-speed transmission. Now I have to tell you, sometimes when you're just pottering around, that transmission can shunt, it can give you a jerk or two, which is not very S-Class. But All of that combines to add to this enormous performance on tap. Stick it in Sport Plus. You have your AMG Dynamics in full pro mode. If you want, you can switch off the ESP. You can put the transmission into manual. Left foot on the brake, right on the gas. Race start. This is absolute madness. This is freaking ridiculous. And the e-motors, that fills up whatever holes that this V8 engine has in its torque curve. So your acceleration is relentless. You physically run out of breath. It's wild, absolutely freaking wild. Race start in an S-Class. Whatever will they come up with next? This is brutal sledgehammer performance in the very best AMG traditions. It really does make the electronically controlled limited slip rear differential work hard, but it works like magic, delivering inexhaustible grip and traction. In fact, you will run out of road before the S63 runs out of breath. As for the sound, you get this V8 burble that becomes a roar when you step on it, and it also bangs against the rev limiter. But it doesn't sound absurdly loud. This is, after all, an S-Class, and there has to be a certain amount of restraint. What is a little bit strange is you can hear the motor noises, but those are piped through the speakers and you can switch it off if you want to. Another cool or maybe strange part of the soundtrack is around 2000 RPM. When you upshift, you can hear the turbos whistling. It goes, which is actually a cool touch. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, and it does happen when you are in the sport modes, that's a very cool touch. And then when you get to corners, that's another thing. Now, this is a huge 5-meter long car. It is not the long wheelbase, it is the regular wheelbase, but still, this is a big car, but it handles. Cornering, well, there is no drift mode. In fact, we wanted to take this to the runway, get some dramatically sideways shots, but no drift mode, so what's the point? And that's why we've come onto one of our nicer driving roads. And I think I'm regretting that, because there is so much of grip that you really do need a runway to get this to wriggle its ass. Otherwise, it stays glued to the road. Now, you can switch off ESP, but switching off ESP will only give you a little bit of wiggle room before it cuts in. So you can get small little slides, but this is not built for slides, to be honest. This doesn't even have a proper drift mode. So this is not a sideways monster, but this is a cornering monster. It carries monster speed through corners. On the S63 AMG, the ride control suspension meets specially tuned air springs. The body is reinforced with an aluminum stabilizer under the engine and a motorsport-style cross brace linking the front suspension towers. The rear is stiffened thanks to the carbon fiber reinforced battery compartment in the floor of the boot. There's active roll stabilization via 48-volt electromechanical system, and there's also rear axle steering up to 3 degrees, which does deliver serious agility. And of course the grip, massive 21-inch tires, they stay glued to the road. And if you put it in ESP handling or the ESP off mode, a little bit amount of tail wriggle as well. You wouldn't think of saying something like this for an S-Class, but this is an S-Class that really knows how to hustle. Of course, this is heavy, I kid you not. You can feel its weight. This is not a light and nimble sports car, but this, like I said, is a sledgehammer in brutal AMG tradition. It murders straights and it murders corners. Can really lean on the front end, push it to its absolute wild limits. And the brakes, freaking carbon ceramic brakes, inexhaustible stopping power. Everything is inexhaustible in this. The only thing that gets exhausted is the driver, to be honest.
The S63 AMG is all about the big numbers. 790 bhp, 1430 Newton meters of torque, 2520 kilos weight, 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds, 290 kmph top speed, and price 3.8 crore rupees. That's for the edition 1, of which only 3 will be made available in India. And if you miss the boat, well, you get the regular S63 for 3.3 crore rupees. Or for 3.3 crore rupees, you get the GLS Maybach. Both are completely over the top. But what would you prefer? The mad performance of the S63 or the mad luxury of the GLS Maybach? Let us know in the comments, and of course stay tuned to the Evo India channel. Smash that bell icon and stay subscribed, because there is a video dropping on the GLS Maybach next on the Evo channel.
Read the full review on the S63 AMG as well as the GLS Maybach in the June issue of Evo India magazine, on stands right now.